Good to see you again. Good to be with you. Today I have a short story for you. Not a short story, which is literary quality, but a short story about two boys. One was meek and the other was antagonistic. And they both joined a club for boys that involved a lot of healthy outdoor activities and lots of opportunities to develop a very wide range of skills. And every week they would recite a list of character strengths. And most of the boys didn't pay much attention to what they had learned to recite. But the meek boy did. And the qualities were these: trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The antagonistic boy didn't stay with this program very long. He wanted wilder things and found other avenues for that interest. The meek boy took those character strengths seriously, and that list became his entire philosophy of living. Later on, as they were in school together, sometimes the antagonistic boy would attack the meek boy, who was never willing to defend his rights, never stood up to injustice against himself, had nothing to do with violence. And the meek boy would have been hurt a number of times if it were not for a friend who was like him and like the aggressive boy, also strong. All three of them. But the meek boy's friend was a good fighter and an aggressive defender whenever the meek boy was attacked. They grew and separated, didn't see each other much. The meek boy joined an organization in the town which wasn't that far from the seacoast. An organization for emergency management and disaster prevention, disaster response relief. And he became a leader in that group and was chosen to be their spokesperson. And as these two boys grew into their manhood, they continued to mature and grow. And then the predictable event came. A devastating typhoon made landfall and came into their town, causing great devastation. The man who had been so antagonistic joined that disaster relief group as a volunteer and worked alongside the others heroically for the initial couple weeks after the disaster. And the cooperation ensued until the later phases of response began to set in, and the antagonism and cynicism and bitter criticism of this and that in response to insurance company this and government that, and the difficulties of getting contractors to work in a way that would be timely to people, very difficult. But the meek man who understood that things take time, and when bad things happen, there's always a causal story, no matter how complex, that explains it. And while some people were proclaiming that this is God's way of punishing us, he always insisted that even though human beings, in their foolishness and ignorance, may indeed contribute to a polluted climate and its consequences, along with other factors in the changing situation on our world, he would never accept that this is the act of a punishing God. And always calmly and persistently went about his work. Then, after the relief effort was essentially completed, the meek man was asked to run for mayor. And the man who had been so antagonistic to him joined his campaign very actively and followed through. And the meek man became the mayor of the town. All right. That's a story that is plausible enough that we can imagine it really happened. And maybe it has happened. The good guys win. Sometimes in our planet today. And if we hear this teaching, happy are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. We can hear a promise that one day humankind will arrive at a destiny in which the qualities of character that meek man was cultivating and cherishing and holding close to his heart, brave, clean, and reverent, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, brave, clean, and reverent, that those qualities will someday win. Now, for one who accepts that promise, who trusts the divine source of the destiny of humankind, has this satisfaction now that in following that way of meekness, he or she is thereby contributing to the eventual triumph of a truly balanced and spiritually fruitful civilization. Yes, on this world. And so for now, whatever is going on in your life or in our world, always know that you are a divinely created, infinitely loved, spiritually indwelt. And let me explain that word indwelt. It's an important notion in my vocabulary and a term I use a lot. The idea is that God is, and God is in us, and that we are in Him. And that God is in us. He's come and taken up residence in us. He dwells in us. And in that sense, we are spiritually indwelt. As evolutionary free will sons and daughters of the living God, and brothers and sisters to the human persons that we meet. What a privilege. This way of meekness.